Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Money, Sex, and God. This is Genevieve, your host. Money, Sex, and God is a beautiful opportunity for us to talk about the taboo in the world around money, sex, and God. And one of the things that I do is I bring on experts in their field who are willing to dive deep with me around some of these topics. So I am super duper excited to have a master intimacy expert on our channel today, Allana Pratt. Allana, thank you so much for being on. Yay, it's so good. It's so good to connect with you again.
Likewise, all I know how to say is like, like I'm just so happy to see you and be here and just, there's so many conversations we could have. And I love that we can deeply dive into the taboo, bring light to it and deliciousness to it and new possibilities. So first, it's just so good to be with you and to be with your community. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yay. Thank you for being here. And for anyone watching, this is a live taping. So for anyone watching, if you have questions that arise, if you want to talk to Allana about something, this is the intimacy expert, guys. So you definitely want to ask questions. Also, just comment and let us know that you're here, where you're watching from, and answer anything that might arise. Let us know what comes up as we talk. Okay. Great. So Allana, I'm really curious first about how you became the intimacy expert. Like, what sort of heroine's journey did you go on to get to this?
I thought you said, what kind of heroin did you take to? I was like, no. I've had many issues, but that wasn't one of them. But oh, my love. Well, where I began my journey is in Canada. I'm Canadian. And I knew I didn't want to be a pharmacist, and take over my dad's pharmacy. And I knew I didn't want to be a teacher like my mom, although I did feel a teaching energy, just not in that world. So I hopped on my Uncle Phil's 18-wheeler semi when I was 19. I quit college to go find myself and my life. And my initial thought was, Genevieve, I was going to be a dancer at Disneyland. Like, that was as good as I could come up with.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's exciting.
Which is so cute. When you were on my show, you're like, I'm going to be a dominatrix. And I'm like, I'm going to be a dancer at Disneyland. It's like so different, but whatever. I failed. I was talented enough, but I learned about you need a visa and all that other stuff, and I didn't have that. So I ended up getting a job over in Tokyo. And this is where our exploration of sexuality begins to align our life journeys. So initially it was fishnets and a G-string. And to me at the time, that was like, oh my God. And that for me was my first taboo. And then the next show, once I got into Tokyo, was like way more money. And as I got there, putting on my costume with all the other girls, these tall, beautiful girls from France or Australia, there were no tops. But I didn't know there were no tops. I just thought we're dancing at the Four Seasons and that's why they're paying us so much. And I'm like, and they were all cool with it. And I just had to pretend I was cool with it, but I was mortified inside. And I was sure I would be struck down by lightning and I was bad and wrong. And I remember being on stage, Genevieve, and on their side of the stage, for some reason, they sat all the nice guys on their side of the stage. They would bow like little Boy Scouts. But on my side of the stage, all the sleazy, in Japanese, they'd call them scabe. All the scabe guys would be on my side. And I went home and I just bawled that night. I was bad. I was wrong. I was dirty. I was a piece of meat. I wasn't as pretty as they were because they got all the nice guys on their side of the stage. But within 24 hours of this, feeling my feelings, exploring what this is about, remembering I had choice. I didn't have to go back. I could break the contract, not a lot of integrity there, but I had choice. And I decided to go back and I started to get curious because there was something about the way these women were being about their bodies and about dancing that was different than me. I wasn't as comfortable as a goddess. I didn't think I was a work of art yet. I thought men had power over me. I had a lot of unconscious beliefs that became conscious very clearly or quickly as I began to explore this. And it was almost like I could see the energy, like, in the Matrix, when Neo's eyes get burned and he can see all the energy, I could start to sort of see that they would breathe in the energy of these men that clearly thought they were hot and wanted to do them, I'm sure.
Mm.
And they would do something in their physiology. They would like affirm, or they would just open. It was almost like their nipples were like shining light and like energy coming out of their eyelashes. And it's almost like they said something inside. And I'm like, I wonder what they're saying. Is something definitely positive about themselves. And then it's almost like they would exhale it out their fingernails and just out the curve of their hip. And I was just mesmerized by these women. And so there I was, little 21, 22-year-old, right, trying to figure it out. And I swear, to learn how to transform men's attention. I would breathe in their judgment. I would affirm, thank you for noticing. I am a goddess. And I would exhale out this energy of beauty, grace, erotic, sacred, divine sensuality. And then everybody on my side of the stage started to bow like little Boy Scouts. I'm like, oh, I'm in charge. I'm in charge. So well, even though that was like, I'm 50 now in a couple of weeks, so that was a good 30 years ago. It was the beginning of, wait a minute, there's more than meets the eye here. Our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our knowings. Do we come from the heart? Do we come from trying to control in the mind? Like all these questions started to arise, and life started to look differently when I decided I'm a divine temple. My body's a divine temple. I'm a goddess, and my sexuality is sacred, and I get to choose and I get to create. And so what I found was so much of the energy, so much of the potency of life was hidden in these taboos. And so I'm like, ooh, where's the next taboo?
Yes.
So that's a way back story of how all these years later, I've become an intimacy expert. That's like the juicy place for me.
Wow. I have such a similar story of watching the alchemical process of women's energy as I was like maybe 11 or 12, but I was at a dinner party. And I remember there were adults all around me, and I remember watching their energy and what they were doing. And I had just hit puberty. So of course, puberty was then like, ooh, I can play with this during puberty.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? That's the space, that alchemy that we get to play in and create reality. So how beautiful. Thank you. What a gift to share that story for our listeners. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Can I share one other one that sort of had an impact on me?
Yeah, please.
This is like many years later. So I'm 33 and I have my baby, and my mom just died. So my heart is kind of cracked open, but I have all this joy of being a mom. And I think he was like 2. So maybe I was like 35, and the sun was coming through the window, and he was playing with toys, and it illuminated his eyelashes. It was like he has these really long eyelashes. And I remember feeling love, but also turn on. And I was like, oh, I'm a pedophile. Oh my God, like this is awful. And I like shut my heart down. But then I didn't want to shut my heart down, but I didn't know what to do. I had never felt turn on. I mean, maybe at a sunset, I'd have felt like turn on at a sunset, like nature. Okay, I can handle that. Maybe like I'm an art history major. So beauty, I can really feel richness with beauty and nature. And with a gentleman, like if I had sex, I could feel turned on there, but I'd never had to go anywhere really else. Even dancing with the women in Japan, I thought, oh my God, like if I was into girls, I would so want to do her. But it was more of a cognitive analysis of
not a
her
feeling.
beauty.
Right.
But I wouldn't let myself feel it yet. I wouldn't let it integrate yet, because it was wrong, taboo, and bad. Right. And when that happened with my son, I'm like, okay, we need to do some research here. We need to figure out what's going on here. We need therapy. We need something. And that's when I learned that sexual energy is more than just bound chicka bound bound, like erotic, kinky, wild. It is, and it's awesome. But it's also all the way on the other spectrum. This sexual energy is healing and caring and tender, and this divine love that I be with my clients a lot, this non-judgmental presence that literally heals. It's an energy that I could let flow. And then I'm like, okay, well, those are two sort of ends of the spectrum. What's in the middle? And I realized, you know what? When I sit down with a blank piece of paper and I try to write a blog article or something, like nothing comes through. But when I let the energy flow, the creation energy of, oh, let's do a podcast. Let's do a Facebook Live with Genevieve. Like all these creative ideas. Oh, that's sexual, creative, life force energy too. And then I had an experience of a very long custody battle, like 12 years kind of a custody battle.
Mm.
And I was in my head, closed heart, defending, justifying my worth, not going so well with that approach. And when I allowed it to drop into my heart, this fierce mother bear, don't fuck with me, love started to arise. So like healthy boundaries and boldness. I'm like, what? That's sexual energy too. When I let it pulsate through me, that I can say, back off, not okay. Or I don't justify and I stand in truth. So now I've got this whole array of ways to allow sexual energy to flow. And it's all sacred. And I don't ever need to turn it off. I can turn it up to a 10 or down to a 1, you know, appropriateness in life situations, maybe don't have an orgasm at a funeral necessarily.
Right.
But I don't ever have to turn off life.
For the record, I'd like everyone to have orgasms at my funeral. I just want to make sure that's like, that's said and we know. Okay, great. Continue.
Okay. I will remember.
Thank you.
So that something happened about my health and well-being when I started to let sexual energy flow all the time, all the different gamuts. Something happened to my wealth and abundance. And I'm just seeding this here. Like obviously the health went up and the money went up. And I mean, I love being 50, but I don't really think I look 50. No. Like I think there's a vitality and a youthfulness that happens to us when we let this energy flow and we unblock the shame that blocks the hooks inside. So I think it's just good for all. And then life no longer becomes about outside in safety approval. It comes inside out. The safety's inside, the approval's inside. So it's more playful, it's more generative, it's more inclusive, it's more giving. You start to live your purpose because you feel overflowingly full already, not like I need to get something.
Yes.
And whenever I forget, whenever I stop that self-care, whenever I let go of the morning practice, and whenever I stop my self-pleasuring masturbating, whenever I let go of all of those ways to let that life force, sexual, sacred energy flow, I suffer. I get sick. The clients don't flow. I start to get insecure, take things personally, doubt myself. It's just, well, it actually is science. It's the truth. Yeah.
It is 100%. And I mean, I feel like this is kind of tying into something that you've spoken to, that you like to speak about, right? About this idea of finding this connection, this intimacy with yourself and the divine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And is that how you do that process? Is it in I mean, it's how I do that for me, but I'm curious if it feels the same. And then how does that relate to a beloved? Once you call in that, and once you have that in your life.
Well, in all transparency, although I'm able to create a lot of matches in my work, like I help people find their beloved, or they're in my group program and they fall in love, this kind of thing. I have had 2 divorces, and at the moment I'm not dating anyone, but the caliber of gentlemen that I've been attracting has risen. So I'm just being honest here that
I love it.
I'm not like Miss Perfect over here.
No, none of us are. That's so brilliant, because that's often we can see in someone else, right? So easily. It's like, that's where our brilliance is, and we can't turn on ourselves becomes hard.
I can't see my blind spot as hard as I try.
Yeah.
That's why we met in a coaching program, because we both know that we're great coaches, but we both have coaches. Yeah. Right. What has happened though over time, even though quote unquote, I don't have a partner right now, I feel like I do.
Yes.
I don't feel alone. I'm or lonely. I might be alone, but I don't feel lonely. And I haven't for a long time with the work that I've been doing. And so there's this sense first of, higher self and little you that I cultivate on the inside. So the little you would be the part of me that feels scared, ashamed, sad. When I resisted her, things got worse. When I allowed her to be how she felt without even the agenda of fixing her, changing her, improving her, giving her a better attitude, none of it, just being with her as is, with the willingness to sit with her for eternity and love her fully and completely, even if she never changed. Something happens on the inside that's very quiet, coherent, loving, compassionate, appreciative of the journey. And then instantly there's this higher self, I guess we could call it. My higher self comes in, where it's like my own relationship to my soul, my my truth, my knowing, my intuition, this kind of feeling, so that I'll just have a sense of this project, not that, this guy, not that, this place to live, not that. Yes, but not now. This kind of awareness. Little Allana's calm. My heart is open and I hear my higher self. So that would be like the me part. And that feels really quite calm, good, peaceful. Mm-hmm. Then I feel like instantly I'm aware of the field. I'm aware of the divine. I'm aware of God, the universe, whatever word you want to use, as that I come from, I'm a part of. That's home. And it becomes this like weaving, like fluid figure eight, inhale, exhale. Like I begin to, I guess, co-create or have a relationship with this divine. Like I feel it, like I feed it with my gratitude, my question, and I feel it loops back and gives me even more intuition or the feeling. Like some days I'm just like, can you just remind me what it feels like to be held? And I'll hold little me, right? But I'm like, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like I can literally feel the energy of the divine or the field looping back from my request going, hey, we got you. We got you. Right. So I feel this relation. I'm alone, but I don't feel lonely. I feel like and sometimes when I'm feeling really juicy, I'm like, have your way with me, penetrate me with whatever you want today. Let's do this. Yes. And I'm surrendered to life.
Yes.
In the form of an email, form of an invitation to go on a date, in the form of like walking through the park, whatever. Like, so there's like eyes wide open, not just sitting home having a meditation moment. I mean, like in life, penetrate me, have your way with me. And then I feel this life coming in me, as me, through me, like the unique evolutionary spark of the divine mixed with Allana banana, like together in me, as me, through me, of like, oh, I think I'll do this today. Or I think, right. Like so I'm feeling in partnership.
Yes.
All the time. If I focus, I mean, maybe not even focus, it's more like intention and then feel.
Yes.
It's more like, it's not like I'm trying to do it in my head. I just want to be clear about that. Cause that's a downfall I used to do and it doesn't work. So when you can take that, what it feels like to be kind to yourself, compassionate with yourself, unconditionally loving with yourself, and then you can begin to have that relationship with the divine. I remember one time I was on mushrooms. Anyways, just a little side note there. Anyways, that's a whole other story. But whenever I do sacred medicine, it's always, I choose to have like a sacred experience with it. That's kind of my thing. And so I'm like, okay, if I let in the love of my friends, because I was crying, I don't know why I was so emotional on mushrooms. I just was so many tears. I was snotting and snotting. And I'm like, my friends love me when I'm snotting. What if the universe loves me when I'm wobbly too? And I swear so much energy came in that I was holding out. Oh, I'm like, wow. It was life-changing. So I love me wobbly. The universe loves me wobbly. Well, then there's really nothing to worry about. Let's just do our best and have as much fun as we can and make a difference and enjoy the quiet moments. Like, let's just do our best. So when you take that way of being, and then your intention is, and I'm ready for partnership, whether it's I want to date lots of people, whether it's 2 or 3 people I hang out with on a regular basis, whether it's one person, whether it's monogamy, polyamory, whatever, doesn't matter. Like whatever's true, because you've taken the time to listen. Right. And know what's true for you. And that can even change in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Like there's no right way or conclusion we ever need to get to. What's true. And then you choose, and then you put one foot in front of the other, and you allow the universe to bring that which you've asked for. It'll probably show up differently, but it's either that or better that you asked for. And that's when the healthiest, most ideal 2 wholes, not 2 perfects, but 2 wholes coming together. And the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Love relationships or business relationships or health. Maybe you need a health practitioner. Like any of these dynamic partnerships can come to you with what I consider to be grace, when these are the ways we go about building partnership and relationship inside out, rather than when I find them, I'll finally be enough. Right. Outside in. When I find the one. That's my next book, Genevieve. It's coming out soon. Finding the one is bullshit. Becoming the one is brilliant and beautiful. That's my next.
So good. So Good. I have a partner now that I laugh because I literally don't even understand how it happened. Like there was no finding. I didn't find.
Yeah.
I didn't, there was no seek. Neither of us did any of that. It was literally, they lived 2 blocks from my house and it just kept being like this, boop, oh, hello, boop, oh, hello. Right.
Oh,
and
really?
And
Nice.
we'll laugh at how much of a lack of like needing to hold the relationship down. Like neither of us care. There's just such this beautiful free loving of like, sure, like whatever, like let's just for the right now be in the right now. That's kind of all that exists. But I laugh about all the finding the one stuff because it's like there was absolutely no finding. I didn't have to find anything. It was literally right in front of my face.
Yes.
And both of us had a very, 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 very devoted self-intimacy, self-pleasure practice. Both of us still do. Still do.
Thank you. Again, that's so great. I got to say one of my intentions for my 50th year as I go into is upping or deepening like the non-negotiableness of my self-care practice.
Yes.
I was up in Canada for 4 months. That's where I finished my book. I was paddleboarding every morning, hiking through the forest. I was eating well. I was just I was really in a good place. And then I came down over the last month and I drove all the way back down to California and I did a bunch of speeches and I went to a bunch of workshops and I did a bunch of intensives for clients. And I gotta say, I'm not myself. Yeah. I'm tired. Yeah. And I'd wake up not replenished and that's not how I roll. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so sure, when you're on sabbatical, it's so easy, but what's it going to take for this next level that as I get asked to speak more and travel more and do more things and lead more retreats and I have to have a deeper root for a higher shoot. I have to have more healthy boundaries around, no, I don't start work until such and such. Yes. No, I'm actually booked. I'm booked this month. You'll have to book next month. Yes. But I need you. I understand. You had the booking link for a month and you didn't book until last week. Yeah. I just had that conversation with my assistant yesterday. She was like, you're booked for 2 months straight. And I said, great, let them wait. Because I will not take away my 3 hours every morning with myself and my body. Thank you, sister. I was thinking 2, you do 3. Okay. Can I have like a breakdown? Just like a baby breakdown. What does the 3 hours entail ish? Yeah. So I have like a whole, it's actually not that complicated. I used to complicate it a lot. Like I'd be like run around, stand on my head. Like, that was what I did because I was seeking peace. Right. And now it's a remembrance. It's a reminder. So it's pretty simple to drop in. I either stretch or do yoga or dance because my body likes moving before I touch it. And then when that feels complete, this also involves a lot of naps. I nap a lot in that 3 hour, but I don't really know if I'm napping. I think what I do is just close my eyes and like hang out in the void. And then like I pop back in. Yeah. Cause the naps are only like 10 minutes long. So I think that's what's happening. Yeah. And then I'll feel whatever's here. So the last week it's been a lot of rage and anger and that's been really fun and sad, like little parts, the little Genevieve parts. And they're so cute. And then it's so sweet. Like, oh my God. And then it's self-pleasure that it's usually about an hour because I like to go wave. I wave it up and down and then move it around. And I'm like, whoa. And then I need like a half hour to like calm after that. And the integration for sure. And I always have a journal next to me because that's when I get all of my, like, I'll be in the middle of self-pleasuring and I'll stop and write down the next higher self download. Yep. Yeah. The book name, like everything comes through in those moments. And real clarity of yes, no. Right. And then I'll probably nap again, most likely. And then I'm not. So it takes the whole thing is about a 3 hour practice. That's beautiful. Yeah. And I see how it's so like, it's literally like 2 things. It's not like a list of a million, like do this series and then do this and then blah, blah, blah. It's very simple. Very simple. I love this because I just got back from speaking at Hal Elrod's BYEB, Best Year Ever Blueprint. And I took them through this intimacy with money, the entrepreneurs exercise. It was divine. And not that it's, but I think men and women's brains are different. I know they are, right? And so his Miracle Morning, which he's, millions of copies, how many languages, like very successful, supported people's lives. They're alive, not dead now. They got through like all sorts of incredible things. And he really maps it out into an hour every morning of what you do. And it doesn't have self-pleasuring in it. That's our show. It's okay. But it has a lot of other practices that really do make a difference. And yet I'm so grateful that we're talking about this right now, because my self-pleasuring, I can't self-pleasure in like 15 minutes.
No.
What are you talking? No. That's no. And the word audacity comes up right now. The audacity. Because I was so proud. I got 5 days a week down to 2. 7 clients a day, 2 days a week, buffered by this awesome creative time. That's how I got the book written.
Yeah.
But 7 clients a day is a lot.
That's a lot, babe.
There's no time for morning practice.
No.
And that shifted into when the busy time hit into no morning practice, another day, no morning, or like 10 minutes stretching. So I'm thinking maybe I'll shift it out to 3 days, make sure the mornings are consistent and longer than I would have normally. Because I can just imagine the coaching session after 3 hours in the morning.
You literally just show up. You don't even have to say anything.
Right. And you're here.
Yeah.
Oh.
I literally my video turns on. I've got my couple or my person and I'm just, yeah. And then things start happening and you're like, cool.
I so get that. I so get that. Oh my God. Okay. I'm so grateful for you. Having me on your show, because my 2 hours is now officially 3. Holy shitters. Yeah. 7 days a week?
I do it 5 because I parent for 2. So my other 2 days, we have my son and I will do massage and dance parties. So I'm still getting my self-pleasure and I'm teaching him how to do it. So life force is still running through our body. Right. And and in our dance practice, we're screaming at each other. We're rage. We let it out. He's an excellent scream. So
this is really, I'm sorry. This is important to mention because one's lifestyle, if you have children, if you have a 9-to-5 job, if you have roommates, there's a lot of different factors that don't allow for the decadence that as entrepreneurs over time, we've created. This wasn't us before. No. We've created it over time. And so to not that anybody's less worthy or less effective, if your practice has to be different, creative with a kid, shorter, if your flight leaves at 6 a.m. and you got to be up by 4, you're not going to do 3 hours starting at 1 a.m.
But you can self-pleasure on the flight, not through touching your genitals, but maybe through breath work, maybe through listening to music that evokes pleasure, maybe through just feeling your nipples in the space. I don't care what it is, but you can do that at any time. So I used to only do 15 minutes a day and it would involve me touching my body and crying for about a year. That's all I had. And all I could do was 15 minutes from, I grew up with a lot of trauma. We've talked about that. And so that was it, but that was more than enough.
Sure. Yeah. Just hugging yourself and being there for yourself for 15 minutes. Oh my God, really breathing through your heart and holding yourself. Just that. Holy shit. Even 5 minutes on the toilet in between meetings. Right? You sit there and go, I love me. I love me. I love me.
Yeah.
It helps. Yeah. That's really good to remember, the quickies.
And I love that you brought up that piece about worth and how it's not about, having more time, which means you have a better self-pleasure practice, which means you're better at something somehow. And you really, thank you for bringing that into the space. And I'd love to hear a little bit about this idea of worth to you. I mean, you just did a talk on wealth, right?
Yeah.
And so, how does this play into this paradigm?
I used to hate money. Where have you been lately? Why aren't you really, and a lot of animosity around money. I used to be I was in a lot of debt, $250,000 when I was finished with my legal battle, a lot of shame around money. I'd lost all my savings and my house, and I was in all this debt. I felt like the biggest loser on the planet. And so I had a lot of my worth collapsed upon my money.
Hmm.
And it wasn't going very well. And so when I first just started to talk to money, like I talked to little Allana, it didn't like me very much. It didn't want to be anywhere near me. And I'm like, oh, well, that's why we're having a little trouble here paying off the debt. Right? And now money's literally my lover, like full on my lover, like oneness, yummy. But it started with this little gremlin in the corner who I just needed to start to be nicer to. And it wanted me to honor it, not ignore it. It wanted me to listen, not judge. It wanted me to get curious about different ways I could be. Okay, we're going to put all those credit cards and we're going to consolidate them with a lower interest rate. Okay, we're going to take 10% every month. I know we still aren't getting enough money for a pedicure, or we're doing trades for massages and coaching sessions, right? Like it was still really tough, but we're going to put 10% aside, 5% for savings and 5% for debt. Actually, I think it was more like 8 in the beginning, and then just like a little bit of savings, because I just wanted something to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and now I'm up to 25% of my money every month from my business comes through into savings. And then from payroll, another 25% from payroll goes into savings. Like I've got all these little accounts now, and money seems to love the way I honor it, manage it, respect it, pay attention to it. Oh, and in my business, we've got this much overhead every single month, and all the different employees that I have and all the different technologies I have to make the business run. And do we really need this? And is this better? And, and is this the running rate that I should pay? Like all these questions, I'm becoming from damsel in distress to badass businesswoman to elegant queen. Like I'm evolving, and so is my relationship with money, and so is my bank account. Honey, check that out, right? Totally out of debt, and all that money is being put into investments. I mean, I freaking trade options now. Like, what? That chick that was so afraid of like her very first investment ever, I'm gonna die and get hit by lightning. And I mean, I've come from the bank account being negative. Negative. Like we ate out of the cupboard. Whatever we could figure out, and the lightning didn't strike me. I thought as soon as you went negative in your bank account, like somebody comes through the front door and puts you in jail or something. Or I'm like, no, you're still at choice.
Yes.
You're still at choice. Who are you going to be about your relationship with yourself and your money? And so, that meditation I took people through was I got them to find the contraction in their body of where the energy was stuck, and took them through a meditation to come into like apology, understanding, listening, and then hold money and allow it to turn into energy if it was like a little gremlin, and then allow that to expand throughout the body, throughout the room, into your bank account, into your world, and then have it be this feedback loop, right? This beautiful feedback, just like your breath. We don't worry about the next breath coming, or the waves of the ocean. We don't worry, oh my God, the wave's going to stop. Like, no, the waves keep coming. And have that same relationship with money, so that we spend with grace, we receive with grace, we save with grace, we tithe with grace. There's just certainty and elegance with the flow of money that we want to give to others in gratitude for what they provide. And we value what we provide. Thank you for honoring me. So people had these breakthroughs about releasing guilt, about receiving, shifting their point of view around the debt, looking in their wallets. I'm like, every time I look at my wallet, I'm like, hi, money. Like I literally have a practice where I say hello to it all the time. So it was, I had no idea the lack of intimacy with money, the lack of relationship with money, and a lot is possible there.
I'm just feeling like this really yummy tie-in between pleasure and money and yourself. I mean, I was similar and totally in debt, single mom. I mean, this was only a year and a half ago, love. I didn't know how
Holy
I was gonna
shit.
pay rent. Like it was a very rapid.
Wow, you've turned things around fast. Good job.
Very fast. Which is whatever, because time's not real. You can do it like that, right? You have fun. But I remember when I first started to address it, it was a very similar process of like, I would be in my self-pleasure practice and money would come in and I would find the resistance and find the fighting and turn it into a thing that I could talk to and start to make love to. And we now make love to each other. And it's as much of a relationship as the one with myself, as the one with my partner. Like it's as much, it is as important. not because money equals worth at all, but because there's an energy.
Yeah.
Right? There's an energy of that is really profound, and it can be so yummy when you tap into it.
And this is a really great point you're making, because a lot of times when we get on the spiritual path, we sort of do heart up, not heart down. Yes. And so, yes, it's about love, and it's about visioning, and it's about oneness with everything. And we leave our bodies and out we are in Blissville. But like, did you take out the trash?
Right.
Did you pay your taxes? So as soon as we start to go down the chakras into the rooted, like, being on this planet, oh no, that's beneath me. No, it's not. If you are a multimillionaire, you can make a bigger impact on this planet. Thank you very much. So chop, chop, right? To be able to choose with your dollars. Yes. Rather than just pay your taxes, learn how you can have a foundation or a charity or a B Corp or whatever it is. So you can say how you're going to love this world. Mm-hmm. So to honor the lower chakras as much as the upper chakras. Remember, I had a client once, and he had done 30 years with Maharishi? Like, the dude could meditate. The dude could exit his body. His skin was like dead, like no color. Wow. He wasn't in his body. He was out there in Blissville. And isn't it interesting that he wasn't able to find an intimate relationship with another on the planet, which requires being in your body
and relating. Right.
Right. And so, and I said this kind of crazy thought to him. I go, what if your first chakra is as valuable as your sixth crown chakra? Mm-hmm. And it went, and then you saw the energy go all the way into his body. And he goes, I am so turned on right now. I'm sorry. I'm very turned on right now. And I'm like, that's okay. That's okay. Welcome to your body. Here we go. So I took him outside, and we started to just walk through nature. He's like, the whole world is making love to me. And I look at that flower. I go, I know. And he goes, I should stop looking at you because I really want to be with you. But but the color came back. The relationships came. He was already retired, wealthy, and I don't know what companies, but anyways, he made a lot of money. He didn't need to work again. But the idea of generosity and tithing, the flow of money, and how he could, even receive more, even though he had tons, and how could he give? Everything started to balance out. So it's not the six is better than the first, or the first is better than the whole shebang. We are spiritual beings in a body. So let's be here.
Yeah.
Let's make love to our money.
Yeah. And ourselves.
That's right. Yeah.
I love it.
And our partners, and
all the things.
I really miss you. You're so amazing.
I'm so glad I got to connect with you this morning. People are commenting and things. And so we'll jump in and ask and reply to you guys after this. If you're watching the replay, you can still comment and ask questions, and we'll come in and speak to you. And Allana, can you tell us, you have these talk about generosity. There's these gifts that you have for all the people. This is amazing. I'm going to get these. I like gifts. I'll receive. Tell me about them. There's one for women. What is this?
One for women, one for men, one for couples. And there's another one that will be out in a couple of weeks too. So I come from the holiday season bearing gifts. So the first one, allanapratt.com/vulnerability. And Allana's with 2 L's, ALLANA, allanapratt.com. That is a 7-part series about vulnerability is the new sexy. So a lot of times when we think about vulnerability, we think about being hurt. Well, what if it's actually your superpower? So you have even more intelligence from your prefrontal cortex, more intuition, more awareness, and also more receptivity. So it's a great gift for the ladies. For gentlemen, gether2sayyes.com. Go there, and there is a complimentary training as well called How to Be a Noble Badass. So the nobility of women, we want a heart open man, but badass. We want you to be able to penetrate us and really penetrate us with that you see our depth and our essence as well. So that's a beautiful report for gentlemen. allanapratt.com/7 steps, the number 7 steps. That's my book called 7 Steps to Manifesting Your Beloved While Staying True to Yourself, which is really a journey home to self. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. The one that we're looking for is self, and how that will easily and effortlessly heal things of the past so that you can be present, choose, and as you said, 2 blocks down the road, run into your beloved. And then lastly, I'd love you all just to stay in my world, because in the next couple weeks, hopefully next week, maybe the next, my whole site will be redone with a new intimacy blind spot assessment. And I'm really proud of this because every level of life has a blind spot, me included.
Yeah.
And this will take your intimate relationship with yourself, with the divine, and with your beloved to the next level. So stay in my world so you can take advantage of that complimentary assessment as well.
Oh my goodness. You're so generous. You're like Oprah. You can have a car. You can have this. So I'm gonna give you all the things.
And my YouTube channel, tons, like over 5 million views, lots of videos, lots of Q&A there, intimate conversations, my podcast you have been on. So like lots of beautiful content there. One of my favorite episodes. So yeah, lots of content. Just let me love you and hold you and play together. Yeah.
Allana, this is just, my heart it's full and radiating having you here and having you on, sharing your gifts. People are loving this. Of course they would, because you are love. Thank you for showing up so much in the world, and I'll be seeing more of you later. I can't wait to see all the new things popping in. So happy.
Oh, so please stay in touch, my beautiful. Any way I can support you. I just love the work you're doing in the world. Thank you for the blessing of having me on today. And yeah, happy holidays until next year.
All right, bye everyone.
Mwah.
Oh, hang on.